The problem with Amazon right now is that the majority of, I feel like, in my opinion, the majority of customers who organically leave reviews are typically people who complain. So, like the people who are unhappy typically leave reviews, and the people who are happy generally don't, unless you have a product that if you did a really, really good job customizing that product, you went way above and beyond with your packaging and your product, you might get a little bit more positive reviews than other sellers might. But in general, the ratio of reviews compared to your purchases is still going to be very low. And the problem is, as you've probably seen the Chinese black hat sellers, they're deploying all kinds of black hat tactics, like merging other unrelated products as variations. So they're going from 0 to 1,000 reviews overnight, having a higher overall star rating than the competition in each category and so forth. They're doing all kinds of things that really make it even harder to compete when you're trying to compete fairly. So, in my opinion, you really need a strategy to be able to have a higher review velocity organically on your listing to be able to maintain and compete with the review overall rating that you need, like in terms of overall star rating, as well as overall number of reviews. Obviously, if somebody's blatantly cheating, like the Chinese sellers, you can report them. It becomes a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole and a headache to manage. But even the ones that aren't doing that, there are just more and more sellers in general. So even if everyone is playing fairly, if you're entering a category that's just inherently competitive or has a bunch of incumbents that have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of reviews, how are you really going to compete? Even if you have a significantly better product, the even if when you start ranking that product at the top of the page of search results for your relevant keywords, the customer is still going to mostly click on the other products because they have more reviews. So you still have to have a strategy to try to get a higher velocity. And like I said, it's a long game. You're not expecting to do this overnight. This is a game that might take 12 to 24 months till you break that threshold to where now you see that hockey stick of growth. So if your competitor has, let's say, 800 reviews, it might take until you get to 100 reviews to where you take a significant amount of market share, because the psychology of the customer is that once you're in the hundreds, then that might be comparable to being 800. Or if they're at 5,000, once you get to 1,000 reviews, that might get you to the point where you start taking significant market share. So you don't necessarily have to have exactly the same number as them. You just need to be kind of relative, whether it be in the tens, the hundreds, or the thousands. And so, like I said, once you get to that, that's where things really tip.